What's going on? My name is Matt. I've been working in the motorsports industry for about 5 years now. And if you've been watching my videos, you probably noticed I have a lot of climb gear. Let's talk about why that is. So, the biggest thing I like about climb gear is they seem to know their limits. They seem to know where they stand, where their weaknesses are, and where they need to license other technology. Just like the airbag, they didn't think they could do a better job than In&motion in making an algorithm. So what do? They licensed In&motion because they felt like they had the best algorithm. They put it in their vest. I respect that. If you feel like you can't make a better product, I think licensing a tech is the way to go. On the Baja jacket, SuperFabric, they didn't feel like they could make a better fabric than SuperFabric. So what do? They licensed the technology. With their waterproofing, right, they licensed Gore-Tex. They didn't feel like they could make a better membrane. So what do? They licensed the best one they could find and then put it in their jackets. See a common theme here? They kind of seem to just know their place and what they're capable of. For a decade or more, they licensed D3O, and this stuff worked well. They didn't release this until they developed it with enough confidence that it could outperform this. And I think they spent like 5 or 6 years developing their new Rogue armor, but for the longest time, they were just using D3O because they felt like it was the best on the market. I would say the biggest drawback to this is going to be price. But what I like about seeing this type of thing is that a lot of companies, to keep the price down, they might make their own membrane and then it doesn't perform as well in the rain. Or maybe they make their own fabric, but it's cheaper. Or, they make their own zippers. That's another thing, right? Klim uses YKK zippers. They felt like that was the move to go with because why try to reinvent the wheel where they can just license it? Again, knocks the price up a little bit more to have the licensing, but you get a premium product. And what I don't like seeing is when companies make their own armor or their own fabric, and then a couple of years later, you see through testing that that armor didn't perform as well as D3O or Klim's new Rogue armor. And even though it passed certification, you look at a website like MotoCap and you realize that it doesn't perform at the same level as some of the other pinnacle stuff out there. I don't like when companies call their products waterproof and then they're not. They're just water resistant. Did you know that for a waterproof garment to be considered waterproof, it only needs like a 1500, 2000 column rating, which is basically nothing, because what that means is they're taking that membrane and pressurizing water on top until 3 drops goes through. Gore-Tex is a 28,000 millimeter membrane, which means you need like 93 feet of pressure to get 3 drops of water to go through that membrane. To claim waterproofing, you only need like 1500 to 2000, which is not even a 14th of what Gore-Tex is. So it's kind of interesting, and there's some discrepancies with testing as well. A lot of the membranes that get tested aren't motorcycle specific. As far as I know, Gore-Tex has a different membrane that they use for motorcycling because you're dealing with different speeds that can push water through at different forces than maybe if you were skiing. So what I've been told is that they modify each membrane for each different sport. I respect Klim because they seem to know their place. They don't try to reinvent the wheel. They license tech when they feel like they can't make a better product. Even their belts, like a belt that you put on your pants, they license their Grip 6. So yes, they make great products, but they know their limits and they license tech where they feel like they fall short. That's what I want to see. If every brand did that, I would worry much less about who I'm buying from and what product I'm buying, but that is not the case. Usually when you go for a cheaper product, corners are cut somewhere. And Klim just refuses to cut corners for the most part. Now, for the helmets and boots, I think there's a lot left to be desired there. For helmets, seem to run really wide other than the X1 Alpha. I wouldn't consider them as safe as an Arai because Arai is a specialized brand, right? But if Arai came out with a jacket next year, I'd be questioning that. Or if like CD started making gloves, I'd be like scratching my head. So Klim is consistent in the way they operate, and they're not afraid to reach out to other companies when they feel like they need some help making their products better. And I think that is awesome. I wish more companies would do that. Thank you for watching. I hope you like this content. If you do, please hit the like and subscribe button Any questions or comments, concerns, leave them below in the comments. I always try to get back to people as I can. That's all I got for today. I'll see you next week.